Welcome to One Question at a Time, the SAT series. Question number 53. Which does not represent a function? So we're talking about the definition of a functions in the previous questions, and let's review it if we forgot it, in case we forgot it. So a functions, okay, a functions, and also this one they're asking for the opposites, for not functions, right? But we have to find out what is the function. So the functions is when one x value only given one y value. All right, and we use vertical line test. If a graph is passed, or if an equations it pass the vertical line test, if it pass, it means it cross only one time. That will be the functions. Okay, if it fail, it's crossed twice, more than one, so it's not a functions. Okay, so look at the graph. This is the parent functions of the most common equations. So for the constant, you will have f of x is y equals some number. Okay, so f of x equals c is the constant, just a letter stand for a number. F of x always represent y value. This is y equal x. This is y equal absolute value of x. This is y equal x squared. This is y equal square root of x, right? So if we know those parent functions, graph how it look like, and we know them, we're familiar with them, so we saw this question like at easy. Okay, it just take about like 10 seconds to reading the question and to the right answer. Why? Because we already know it's the parent function, right? So parent function is the most simple versions of that type, and they're already a function because they call parent function, right? So if it parent function, it's already a functions. So if you see something like y equal a numbers, that is a functions, and it's the constant right here, constant. That the type. So in wrap A, that the constant. So yes, it's the parent function. See, it passed the vertical line test. See that? When you strike vertically, it's only cross the graph once. Similar for the linear, this one. And how we know it, so we always, you see this one is always y equals something, right? So when you see something, you just solve for y. So this is, we subtract x both sides, this one gone. Then we have y equal minus x plus 4. So you see that this is the linear functions or linear equations. Y equal mx plus b. Okay, so because the function, we're not choosing it, right? So let's skip C, but for D, you see that if we solve for y, that will be equal negative absolute value of x plus 1. Yeah, and this one is look like absolute value functions, so that look good as well. So not D. Okay, because D are functions, absolute value. So something look like this. So this is D, look like that. Is it B, look like that? Okay. So now E is y equal, we can rewrite it with x first, square root of x plus 10. So this one look like this. It looks similar to the graph. okay? But it's not exactly like this because this is the most simple one. So it's always start with like really nice and neat, like all of the small number can be plugged in and then you have that graph. But for those graph is already changing a little bit, like they transform it, they moving up or down to left or right, or they stress it or they string it. So that's why we call those um, parent functions is like the most simple one. And then based on that, we can do much more. Okay. Now, if we know those look like that, right? We have A, B, D, E. So of course C is not a function, and C should be the answer choice because if we knowing this one is the equations of a circle. Okay, it look like this: x minus h square plus y minus k square equal r square. And h comma k, that is the center, and then we have the radius r. All right, and we should say it have to be the positive, right? R is the length because the radius never negative, so it's always positive. All right, so when we familiar with those, we know that how the circle look like. It look like that, right? And if you use the vertical line test, it's crossed at least twice. I mean, right here maybe one, but the rest is 2 times, right? So it failed the vertical line test, so it's just the equations of the circle. It's not the functions. All right. So now we also looking for the equations. Looking for the equations of the ellipses. Okay, they're similar to this. If you have like x squared with y squared, mostly is not a functions. It's just the equation of the ellipses or the parabola, but hyperbola. Yeah, so it look like that. Okay, or ellipses is look like that, right? So it fell, or like this is still fell, right? And also we have another type, right? Something look like that. This one is what is this one look like? This one look like this, right? The reciprocal. So this one's still okay. So as long as you know how the graph look like and you can distinguish between which one is look like what parent function you know, right? So we just need to know like the most simple one. And then if you want to know how the graph can be transformed, I will attach the link to the graphing technique video so you can just watching like a first few 10 minutes maybe to know like how the transformations make the graph easier, like make your life easier. And also after that 10 minutes is about like the practice questions when we have like can see like all type of the transformations a graph can have, and then it's make like more clear. So that's it for today. Thank you for participating in this series and see you next time.